I'm Ann Bocock, and welcome to Between the Covers. James Patterson is the world's best-selling author. Now, let this sink in for a minute. Not only is he the best-selling author on the planet, but he puts out more books in a year than most people read in a year. He's created some of our most popular fictional characters and series like Alex Cross, Michael Bennett, and one of my favorites, The Women's Murder Club. Mr. Patterson is a noted literary philanthropist. He's given more than 3 million books to school children and the military and donated more than $70 million to support education and $2.5 million to teachers during the pandemic. James Patterson is a great storyteller. He has had fantastic literary partnerships, including the thriller The President is Missing, which he co-authored with President Bill Clinton. The latest partnership is with decorated war hero Matt Eversman in the new book, Walk in My Combat Boots. These are true stories, up close and personal stories of the brave men and women from every branch of our military. And I am so pleased to welcome James Patterson. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Ann. Nice to be here.
This book is honest, it is raw, it's a little different than some things you have put out before.
I think it's the most important book I've ever done by far. I have a relationship with President Clinton, obviously, and I sent it to him. I said, I don't want a blurb, but he said, and when he was in office, he went to more military bases than any other president since FDR. So he knows a lot about the military. And he said he could not stop thinking about this book for 3 days after he read it. Matt Eversman, who I wrote it with, he was the actual sergeant portrayed in the movie Black Hawk Down. And I saw Matt do some interviews, and that's why this thing is so important. When my dad came back from World War II, he would never talk about it. And an awful lot of us, we have relatives, fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, who've been in combat or been in the military, and they won't talk about it. What's beautiful about this book is they talk to Matt. And we had these 40-page interviews, and then I turned them into 5- and 6-page stories. And Matt says that this book is like 85 novels or 85 nonfiction books, because every single one of these stories, it tells you, who this person is, why they got in the military, and some amazing stories from a guy who wound up being a dentist for Saddam Hussein to a woman who wanted to be a door gunner, which they said couldn't happen. And she went through 6 levels of training, and she finally became a door gunner on a Huey helicopter. So it's a stunning book. And what Matt and I did, our mission was, if you've been there, you'll say that Sergeant Eversman and Patterson got it right. And if you haven't been there, you will understand the military for the first time in your life. You will understand what it means to serve, and you will understand what it means to put your life on the line for somebody else, which is amazing. It's a very hard thing to conceive of, and that's why I say I just think this is important. I can't imagine anybody watching who doesn't have somebody that they'll recommend this to, because it's so different from any other military book. It's up there with Band of Brothers and We Were Soldiers Once and Young, and whatever. That's my 2 cents worth, or actually my dollar's worth, because I took half your program saying that.
I'm glad you did, because something you just said struck a chord with me. My father served in the South Pacific in World War II, and we knew nothing because he never talked about it. It was only after he died when we found some notes that he had made. And this really opened my eyes to things. Some of these stories are heartbreaking. And I don't know that we understand the depths of what it means to be in service. There's story after story, for instance, of servicemen being wounded, and yet the first thing they want is to go back.
Yeah, there'll be stories there. There's one nurse, and she was on a helicopter. They swooped in like literally 60 seconds to get 3 wounded soldiers in Iraq. And they're on the plane, and one of the soldiers had lost his hand, and he said, "I got to get back to my unit." He didn't even care about that. He just wanted to, and it's like that over and over and over again. There's a one story about two twins, Army Rangers, both in a lot of firefights, and but separated. They weren't in the same units, and all they could think about is my twin okay, which is a movie, and yet here it is as a 6-page story.